We will be presenting to you a documentary on a U.S. soldier that served in the Vietnam War. The triumph and tragedy he went through is shown throughout this project. Not only is this important because it affected many people's lives, but it had a big impact on history. The Vietnam War was a conflict between North and South Vietnam and other allies. In 1954, Vietnam was split into two zones at the Geneva Conference. North Vietnam was communist, which was led by Ho Chi Minh. South Vietnam was non-communist. The first president, Ngo Dinh Diem, had a big problem with communism, so he initiated a campaign to denounce it in mid-1955. Suspected communist activity would be punished by jail time or even death. This campaign caused outrage in many people, causing the war to begin. The U.S. was involved but didn't fully get involved until August 1964 when two alleged attacks on American warships were reported off of Vietnam's northern coast in the Gulf of Tonkin. This war lasted from 1954 to 1975, but it technically ended in 1973 when the U.S. troops finally dropped out.
Stephen Charles was drafted in the Vietnam War in 1969, leaving his wife and one child, which was on the way. He was sent to Louisiana for boot camp and was put through months of training. They did physical training, shooting, and I quote, "Everything was to make you fall in line." Stephen then left for Vietnam. He first went to Saigon, more known as Ho Chi Minh City, in Bien Hoa. There he was in the 199th and patrolled coffee fields and in jungles where they searched for Viet Cong members. Stephen was awarded many different medals. The most important ones were his Purple Heart and 2 Bronze Stars. A Bronze Star is awarded to any person who distinguishes him or herself by heroic achievements during service. Here is why he got his. Stephen got his first Bronze Star while in Cambodia on May 13, 1970. When Stephen was at Fire Base Brown, they were attacked by enemy forces with automatic weapons and rockets. He managed to maneuver through enemy fire to get to a good position to shoot. While doing this, he risked his life and saved many others. Not even a week later, on May 21st, 1970, Stephen would earn his second Bronze Star. Him and his unit ran into a hostile ground operation in the Republic of Vietnam. He took an exposed position to take down snipers and protect his fellow soldiers. In doing this, he did get hit in the leg, and that is how he got his Purple Heart. After Stephen was shot, he spent a week in Hawaii with his wife for R&R. After that, he finished his time on a mountain called Nui Ba Ra. He spent time with his friends Butch, Doc, and Donald, his best friend during the war. Donald, along with many others, unfortunately did not make it home. Stephen can recall visiting his grave in Michigan after the war had ended. We asked Stephen about friends he had made during the war, and this is what he had to say.
Let's just say I lost a lot of friends, okay? Did I come back with friends? No. But that was just an occurrence of where I was at. The guys I was in the service with, I ended up with, were a lot. I had a group from Michigan, and then we had a group from West Virginia and southern states. And most of those guys were in the service because they were given a choice of going to jail or going to the service, okay? Now, you don't have a military like that today, okay? So you got to remember, these are different people than what you're thinking. You know, they're really wild individuals. You know, I think that what was the saying was, you don't mean nothing, you know, and that was one of the sayings, you know, don't mean nothing. And the world, you know, they always called home the world because it was a long way away, okay? And none of us really understood why we were there. And we really didn't like the fact that when we did come home, the type of treatment we received.
When the American soldiers first got out the war, they were treated horribly. Not a lot of people understood how important it was that they served in the war, and they had a lot of negative opinions to say to the soldiers and about the soldiers. There was a lot of controversy on the war and the people that served in it, but after time we came to idolize and thank the people that served.
It's not like we told anybody. Okay, I'll put it this way. It was a long way into when I went to the University of Iowa. So I was already in my senior year at the University of Iowa. And I was in a class. And up until that point, nobody in that class knew anything about me. And then we got into a discussion. And it was at that point that I sort of lost I didn't lose my cool. I just told them they didn't know what they're talking about. When you're 18, 19 years old, talking about what's happening in Vietnam when you're a punk kid out of high school and having an opinion, they need to grow up. A lot of people died. Lots of guys died for no purpose. And somebody telling me how bad I am, and it's hard to explain. We had no fire zones. We could walk into a village, be fired upon by a 10-year-old kid and not be able to fire back without permission. Okay? Now that's a silly way to talk, to fight a war. And then you're dealing with people back here, claiming that we're, baby killers and killing kids. Well, they weren't there. If you're not there, you should limit what you think about a person, You really have to limit what you think, because you don't, and I think I know I've told a lot of people, but you don't know what you're going to do until it happens. You got a lot of people that are brave, and you see kids in your class, they're willing to fight right away and everything. But, it's not an attitude to have, because you don't know what the other guy's really going to do.
Coming back to people hating you after you had fought in a war changes who you are. We asked Stephen if he thought this had changed him.
100%. Totally different person. The hard thing is to know, or to realize that how unpopular it was. And I get real tired of people now trying to make up for something they did 50 years ago. You do something 50 years ago and you treat people like we got treated when we came back. You can't have it made up to you. It stays with you. The people that you lost, the friends that you lost, you never get that back. So when I watch kids today and I watch the American flag, do what you want to. You can protest any way you want, but don't protest the American flag. We're dang lucky that we had all these people that died for us. All these people. The American flag is where we live. We should honor it. And if we honor that, we should start honoring each other. And we don't. Because everybody thinks that they're getting a raw deal. Well, stand up and be counted. Nobody's gotten a raw deal. Their history has given them raw deals, but,
Stephen had to overcome many tragedies to get home to his triumph of being home safe with his family.